Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I'm your host, GameChanger. So, while minding my own business, I was watching the Coffee Pill podcast, and apparently a woman had some stuff to say. She was all over the place. It's in today's show. Check them out. She was talking about how religion, let's just say religion, is used as a tool of control, and many men are running towards religion to escape feminism. It's like, okay, let's just suppose that that's true for a second. Don't you want like a world without men? Like this femtopia where women are running everything and, oh, yes, this, and this, and we don't need you, which is bad enough because men have never come to a point where, even in times where physical labor, manual labor, was at a premium, hunter gatherer stuff, they never said we don't need women and they never attempted to discard them. But that's your goal. But not only do you wish to discard men, you don't want the men away doing their own thing, doing something that makes themselves happy instead. What you want is them to stand in this femtopia, even though there's no need to be there, just so you can remind them how unneeded they are. That's the gist of it. And we're going to cover that later. We're definitely going to cover that later. That put me in a rabbit hole, and that's why I'm here, of TikTok. And a lot of weird things happen on there that I want to cover before I get to the main topic. So, what I'm going to need y'all to do is hit that like button. I'm going to start on a positive note, and then I'm going to get into the nitty gritty. All right, so here's a short of the day. Here is the positive note. I'm going to mute it because of copyright, and they're not saying words, it's just music. But here you go. So here we have a thigh gap Filipino woman. No split ends, no nothing. And she is at the airport waiting for her boo. It says, I flew to the Philippines to meet my girlfriend for the first time. Let's see how this plays out. Ooh, step, step. She waves him down. Keep in mind that it's her people, it's her friend or whoever that's holding the camera. So she's smiling underneath the mask, waves him down. He bought a lot of luggage, and it is a short, not particularly attractive, bald guy with glasses who is, upper middle age. That is who she is greeting. He is also her same height. She seems genuinely happy to see her. Now, this could be fake happiness, and she could be setting him up for some type of hustle or something like that. Or she could genuinely be happy with this older, balding, I don't know, he's either a pale Asian or white gentleman. Happy, and let's just see how this ends. Wow, they're still hugging. Okay, there was a scene where she took her mask off, and you kind of could see how much prettier. There you go. So she is, not only is she prettier than he is handsome, it's by a significant margin. So apparently there are places in the world where they appreciate, short, pudgy, bald guys that are middle aged. Let's see another place in the world. Let's just call it a darker place in the world. All right. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. I'm about to get into the nitty and the gritty. All right. So it's not this one. It is this one. Now, of course, this one comes from a darker region of the world than the Philippines. This is likely one of the places that passport bros and passport brothers don't go. I don't know where her accent is from, but it's already on my list of places not to visit. Let's take a listen at what she has to say in a video that she titled Humbling Men.
Men those lies that as they age, they become more attractive. That is a lie. You are ugly at 40, my darling. At the gym.
Right off the bat, you're ugly at 40. At 35, you lose all your hair and you don't go to the gym. Okay, we're going to look at some 35 plus men who are not O'Shea, and we're going to see exactly how ugly they are. Salute to the chat. Hit the like button. Feel free to comment.
Your body looks horrible with your belly that looks like you've been pregnant for the last 5 years. You are deeply and thoroughly unattractive. Your eyes are unattractive. You don't shave. You are disgustingly dirty, and there is nothing attractive about you. Matter of fact, let me burst your bubble further. It's only a few men that remain tip-top condition at the ages of 35, 40. Most of you all become regressed and haggard looking. Nothing attractive about you. Do you understand? Because I'm talking of men I see, like my average day-to-day, average Joe, average James. Y'all are ugly. Especially you bald men. So ugly, minus my dad though. So ugly. Like, I don't know who made men feel like they're the best thing after sliced bread. You are not. You have a short while, a very short while to achieve all your goals and beg any woman who is dumb enough to marry you. Before you, let me tell you something. There is nothing attractive about men, especially when they hit their old age, the 50s, the 60s. Who wants to marry that kind of man? Your balls swing low, they sweep the ground. Look at you. Who said you're attractive? Your value doesn't increase. Just because you have money doesn't mean your value increases. So anybody can make money. Even women now, we are making mad.
Once again, whatever, let's just say, dark part of the world that she hails from, you won't see me visiting there as a man who's over 40. Whatever it is that makes her the way that she is, there's no societal checks. Her mother isn't checking it, her grandmother, her aunties, her sisters, nobody is saying, hey, you're bitter and your hair looks like Sideshow Bob. Nobody is telling you that. So, which means that there are more unchecked women like yourself where you are, which is where I don't want to be.
Money. Women are even surpassing men in some sectors. So don't even bring that nonsense. Who told you guys? Who look at you? Look at the mirror. Look at you. Look at you. You think you're like one of those fine men here on TikTok. You are not. Oh, you are the average man and you work in healthcare. Go and sleep. Go and sleep. So for you to sit down as a man and think, oh, as I increase, my value will increase, and as women, increase in age, their value decreases. No. If there's any.
Here's the interesting thing, and this is why she's triggered. She just said it. She's not triggered about men's perceived value increasing. She is triggered by women's actual value decreasing. So she heard somewhere, possibly Kevin Samuels, saying that your value decreases as you age, and it does. There's no doubt about that. Her response is, your value decreases too. So you as a decreased value man should get with a decreased value woman. However, you should still stay humble because you're bald. Basically, she wants the same humility deference that she received when she was a younger woman talking to older bald men. She wants that feeling of, if I am to grace you with this young tight pussy, you must understand that I am a goddess. and you are nothing. You deserve nothing. Be grateful. She wants that feeling. She wants that deference that comes with an extraordinarily humble man. That's what this is, humbling men. Let's play some more.
Any decrease at all that women go through, you self as a man, you are going through it. You self as a man, you are going through it. Rats. Look at you. You have the audacity. Men, God, men do something to me. Oh, these rats, man. I actually despise you all so bad.
So somebody gave her a big D and took it away because this woman is non too happy. So once again, you can deal with this, or let's go back to the previous slide. Or you can deal with this. This is a man that she described, an average man who's past 35, who is bald, who does have the dad bod. Yep. Which would you rather, fellas? Which would you rather? So when you have the people in the world talking about, oh yes, you need to go to the darker countries because that's where they know how to treat a man with respect. It's like, okay, the golden countries seem pretty respectful. Once again, this is her recording her happiness. This isn't him recording him meeting somebody that's younger, hotter, sexier, and presumably childless. Just saying, fellas. All right, now, she said something interesting. She said something interesting about guys who turn 40 and what they look like. Because apparently we turn into George Costanza, at 40. So let's just look at some 40+ year old guys that we know of. Let's see. Let's see. Somebody in the chat room, just throw out a name. Just throw out a name of somebody who's past 35 and don't look like O'Shea Duke Jackson. Here, I got one. So Millie Media is laughing. She's laughing because she's seen me. She's probably the only person in chat right now that have seen me cammed up. And she know I don't fit the description that she's talking about. I'm not bald to begin with, nor do I have a dad bod, nor am I short. I don't think she said short, but y'all get what I'm saying. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, she said Method Man. Okay, yeah. Since we're on power, let's go ahead and throw Lorenz Tate in there. Tate Diggs. Let's see. But we're talking about famous people. Let's go to the not so famous people. John Henry said me. Okay. Okay, we'll go with that. Let's still go to the not so famous people and see what we find. All right, so here. I always have trouble spelling his name. All right. Let's just see how dad bod bald this guy is. All right, so this video doesn't. The video I clicked just so happened to be the one that don't have him in it. But here, let me show y'all who I'm talking about. Okay, so this guy is think he's 40. He's over 35, and that's his hair. Let's just look at a short so we could see what he looks like. All right. Let me see if he has hair. At rest in peace, Kevin Samuels had hair. Not to mention that Alan Roger Curry, also rest in peace, has hair. And like Melody Media said, I have hair. No dad bod, no nothing. It's amazing that a group of women who are 80% fat is talking about the figure of men. And then the one thing that the women complain about, you ain't got no money. I want somebody with money. I want somebody to support me. I want somebody to provide for me, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then when it fits their narrative, oh yeah, that's not important. That's not important. Let's look at another YouTuber that's 40 plus or 35 plus. All right, let's see here. By the way, I'm just sticking with the manosphere. Let's see his dad bod. Let's see his hair. All right. This is formerly known as One Master Teacher, Skylar Derone. Let's see. So no dad bod. Hair's intact. Seems like because he's in a foreign country where the people have different hair texture, he but all the follicles are still there. Hmm. Is this what 40-year-old black men look like? The ones that are still trying to escape you, the ones who are not going to whatever country you are in, is this what they look like? Just saying. So, yeah, needless to say, who else? Who else? Let me see. I got one. I got one right here. Hold on. All right, let's take a look here and let's just see this 40 plus year old black man. Keep in mind, these are regular people who decided to pick up a YouTube and make a show. Let's take a look here. This guy, hmm, doesn't appear to have a dad bod. Follicles intact. Oh, so needless to say, she's stereotyping men, too humble. Listen, if you fit her description, then act accordingly. Act like a man with a dad bod is bald. By all means. I mean, you're really not being humbled by her because you already know what you are. However, if you don't fit that description, then just kind of look at her and look away like, yeah, we have a dad bod and we're bald and our balls sag to the floor. Okay. Um, and if you don't fit that description, you could just kind of like, okay, well, you didn't really humble me because I don't fit that description. You see, black women are trying to humble you for stuff that you did not do. For example, Cynthia G, like, Y'all not protecting and providing. It's like, well, I am. Yeah, but you belong to a group of people that is. So I don't care about that. Are you messing with the individual or are you messing with the group? Yeah, but I want you to be humble because of group progress, not because of individual progress. No, I'm not. I'm not going to behave um, like a overweight bald man because there are men in my age bracket that just so happen to be overweight and bald. I'm not going to do that. It's part of not being stupid. Get it? Got it? Good. All right. Speaking of not being stupid, let's see somebody who didn't take my advice or somebody who is giving the advice of the opposite. Hit that like button. We're going to get into this. Okay, so here's a woman and she's putting on makeup. What could possibly go wrong? Possibly. What could possibly go wrong? All right, let's see what can possibly go wrong with this.
Don't mean that type of hoe that y'all talking about doing all that free fucking. I'm talking about a bitch that's really getting paid. But even though my whole journey was very short lived because I'm just not cut out for it, I learned a lot about men as a girl who was always a girlfriend. Type of men I grew up around, I never had to worry about them being predatory or violating me at all. I could literally undress in front of my cousins, my uncles, my dad. I can sleep in the same bed with them. I didn't never had to worry about certain things that some girls had to worry about. Me being around men that I was always safe around was a good thing, of course, but not being educated on how predatory and bad men can be out in the world, I was not set up with the proper tools. Now, I don't think everybody needs to go and have a whole phase just to learn these things, but I do think as a black girl, most of the time we don't get to experience dating like other cultures do. I had a very false sense of who.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there and I want y'all to take a listen to what she said. She's talking about being a hoe, a 304, a destitute. And then she says, as a black girl, we need to experience certain things because we don't experience dating like the rest of women do. That's because you're a 304. Even the word date has a different meaning when you're a 304. Of course, it's going to be a different experience. What the hell? She looks the same with makeup on as she do off, and that's not a compliment.
Who men really were because I've only been around the men in my family. I've only seen the men on TV, and all of those men are typically written out to be the savior, the provider, the good guy. I mean, we really don't see that many bad men. So it wasn't until
Lies, lies. Just the devil in disguise, just the devil in disguise. Lies, lies. Using lies as alibis. You never see bad black men on TV, right? Although I've never seen I never seen a bad black man on TV. I mean, television just love depicting black men in the best possible light, right? I mean, I've never have I ever, never have I seen Mister on TV. I'm one of the black women that hasn't seen The Color Purple and the remake of The Color Purple and the play The Color Purple or the book The Color Purple. Yeah, I've never seen like a bad black man because I don't watch Tyler Perry, says no black woman ever. I never seen Superfly or The Mac. I've only seen good black men like The Cosby Show and the father from Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Those are the only good black men that I've seen. Or like the TV is just saturated with the father from the Fresh Prince of Bel Air and Bill Cosby, Heathcliff Huxtable, I should say. Right? So now we know that she's a lying piece of crap. Let's listen some more.
My failed relationship and I decided to go and be outside and be a hoe and hang out with my old friends, then I actually
Why does she actually use quotation marks? You're not a quote hoe, end quote. You're a hoe. You're not quoting anybody. That's what you are.
got to learn men. These are things that you can learn without a whole phase. I do not condone whole phases, especially the whole phases y'all be going on, because y'all just be doing a whole bunch of free fucking and call it feminism. That is not a whole phase. In my opinion, that's just a phase.
Hoes hate free fucking, which means that hoes are naturally going to be against relationships. Why? Because it cuts into their bottom line. Men who are getting it from their girlfriend, fiance, wife, etc., 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 are less likely to spend on hoes. They have a disdain for relationships, and then they come on TikTok and try to spread that disdain and propaganda and stuff and fear mongering to other women to make them less likely to be in relationships to make more clients for their over made up vagina.
Is you being dumb as fuck and mismanaging that. That's another topic for another day. I've been in relationships since high school. I've been a long-term girlfriend and I've been proposed to twice before the age of 25. But I did not know men until that whole phase. I had no idea how predatory.
Listen to what she said. She was proposed to twice before she became a hoe. Apparently, you can't turn a hoe into a housewife, but you can turn a housewife into a hoe. So imagine if you're that dude. You that dude, you propose to a chick, you play some 90s R&B in the background. I give you my love with a dozen roses. Make sure that she knows it from the bottom of my, he could sing. And then you say no. And then a couple of months later, he see you out on the street corner selling ass. Now, meaning that you literally had a choice between hoe and housewife, and you chose hoe.
How manipulative, how narcissistic, and how terrible men could be. Not letting your black daughter date and properly guiding her through life when it comes to the dating world does her a huge disservice. Don't let them date. You call them fast for liking boys, but then get mad when they get grown, successful, and pick a man like Kiki Palmer them. Make it make sense. I mean, you really think that your daughter just gonna know what man to pick just because she's book smart? Last time I checked, all my
I don't know. I don't know where she's going with this. I've seen this before, but this is just maybe y'all can help me because I'm confused. I don't know what she was saying about Kiki Palmer. Um, but she said, apparently, you know, a woman's not supposed to know what type of guy to pick at a certain age. Um, because just because she's book smart, she's supposed to know what type of guy to pick. Book smarts really don't have anything to do with it. And both men and women are capable of picking bad counterparts. However, if you are a woman who's deliberately chasing bad counterparts, then you have to address the consequences of that, and not put it on the bad counterpart or the people who belong to the same gender of the bad counterpart. For example, if I were to see this, right, and still try to marry you, my criticisms about women would be null and void because I made a bad decision. Now, if I were a young man, I would just simply go away from this, learning to make better decisions. But that's not what you're doing now, is it?
Drug dealer cousins, they want them a nurse. They want them a doctor. They want them a lawyer. I remember I used to date this drug dealer,
Of
and he
course.
had all the lawyers on his body, all the girls from.
I wonder which ones, like, because she said she was proposed to twice. I'm wondering if the drug dealer was one of the guys that proposed to her. Probably so.
Spellman was on that man's body. I was like, damn, that's crazy that these bitches, these highly educated women, want him.
I don't know if it's cap or not. I will say I don't see it. I don't see it. I always hear people talk about it, but I don't really see. First of all, I don't see black drug dealers at all anymore anywhere. Not to say that they don't exist, but I've lived through both the 80s and the 90s. I've seen black drug dealers then. I haven't seen them doing that since like the Obama administration. And I'm keeping it a buck. And even if they are doing it, it's no money in it for them anymore. Like the bubble has burst on the black drug dealer a long time ago. A long time. When I say a long time ago, I'm talking about like even before 2008. I'm talking about like, like in the late 90s, the bubble had already burst. And some of them were just doing it for the residual, reputation that goes along with it. And some of them just did it because they didn't have anything else to do. Because Uber didn't exist back then. So that whole thing, that whole culture is gone. So when she says something like that, it seems like it's just some made up crap that she heard about in the 90s. It don't really seem like it's because think about it. What drug are they selling? What, crack? Who does crack anymore? Like just maybe some like 60 plus year old Vietnam vets or some crap like that. Like, okay, you know, in any hood, there's what, like at most 10 crackheads, and that's what you're selling. Like, and that's it. And because we don't have a country of origin other than this country, we have to get it from a more prosperous ethnic group, like the Mexicans, like the Chinese, or whomever comes from, like the El Salvadorians, whoever comes from a country where they can actually grow it. You have to get it from them, meaning that you will ultimately always be less successful than them. And of course, they could just sell it themselves. But if they decide to give you some crumbs to sell, then you sell those crumbs. And apparently, you're going to Spellman, like, getting all the chicks. I don't see it. I'm sorry, sweetie. I don't see it on either end. Like, I'm not meeting a bunch of women who mess with D boys like that, and I'm not seeing like D boys slay it like that. I'm just not.
I did not know men until me and that boy broke up in 2021. And I really got to get outside and really got to date for real outside.
You didn't know men until you became a hoe. That's weird. You don't think that you have a skewed perception? Well, first of all, you broke up with a guy and decided to sell pussy. What does that say about you? Yes, I broke up with my boyfriend and I decided to suck dick for cash. What does that say about you? How many women are like one breakup away from sucking dick? And then she said, now I see the predatory nature of men. Well, we see the nature of you. And it is not good. There's no drug game for black men unless they are selling to white people in the burbs and pushing opioids and other party drugs. Yes, but you know who can do that? White people. Like, they don't need you anymore. Why would a white dude because there's no street corners involved, so there's no territory needed to sell opioids at a party, at a rave. He could just be on some Jay and Silent Bob stuff with a long trench coat and go to a party and rave, like, like, yeah, I got this, and they just sell it. In fact, I think they even have like a system, like, the guy with the green bracelet, that he's holding, that he's holding that Molly, that he's holding that E. I mean, yeah. Oh, and by the way, because brothers don't chemistry, because that's not cool, they're kind of like out of the they're kind of like out of that trade as well. They're kind of like out of the meth trade as well. So yeah, it's wow.
Outside of being in a long-term relationship, outside of trying to commit myself because I don't want to be a hoe. Society don't like a hoe. A man will never cuff a hoe. Bitch, that's a lie. And I'm not saying go out here and spread yourself thin because that's not cute. I'm just saying stop trying to preserve.
What are you saying? You're telling women that being a hoe isn't for them or wasn't for you, but they should be a hoe just to find out what men are like. I really can't. That's like saying, I'm going to become a garbage man to find out what people's house smell like. Now you're getting the worst of it. You're literally getting the garbage of their home. So it's not really what their house smells like.
Yourself and cuff the next man because society gonna call you a hoe. It's a scam. It's a scam that Todd set up, my girl. Black boys are already raised up against black girls. And you sending your
Black boys are already raised up against black girls. Now you're the one who turned down 2 marriage proposals so you can hoe. Meaning that 2 guys before you were 25 asked you to marry them, but they were raised up against black girls. Who were the majority of black boys raised by? I'll give you a hint, Tupac. Who were the majority of black boys raised by? Let's continue.
Little black daughter out in the world, lost in the sauce egg, making it no fucking better. Give her the proper tools and she won't need a whole face like I did. Either y'all gonna start teaching y'all daughters or a narcissist will. Either way, she gonna learn.
She looked no different. That's a damn shame. All right, let me see what the comments have to say on this before I get ready for the picture.
With the proper tools. Now, I don't think everybody needs to go and have a whole phase just to learn these things, but I do think as a black.
Let's read the comments. All right. It says, teach your daughters or a praying man will. Oh crap. All right, let's see. Either y'all gonna start teaching y'all daughters or narcissists will. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm wondering if she's actually co-signing it or she's being sarcastic. That's weird. But she's saying, I mean, all she's doing is just trying to eliminate competition. She's trying to eliminate competition for herself. If everybody's a hoe, she'll be the only not hoe, and then she can prosper. You're speaking back as someone who lived a sheltered life and wasn't allowed to date. I'm paying the consequences as an adult while my peers learned. Wait, it says I'm paying the consequences. Excuse me, as an adult while my peers learned these lessons a while ago. In addition, there's nobody in my family who set the example. What about the people who sheltered you? Just saying. Therefore, I have to learn on my own. So you're saying that she's speaking facts. By learn on your own, you mean you need to be a hoe? These broads are done. All right. The girl who grew up with a good dad / brothers, we have a hard time when we learn how they are in the real world. Okay. So I guess it would help if you had a bad father and brother. You can't make this crap up. Poor cat management has so many sisters down. Yeah, because you gotta. Basically, what they're saying is having sex with somebody that you love is poor cat management, and that's what's keeping you down. Now, hoeing keeps you up because hoes up, pimps down. That is true. It is time to let the boys and girls to date in the middle school. Oh, okay. It's time to let the girls and the boys to date in late middle school, like other kids. We have to sneak so much and learn the hard way. We never learn people outside of the bedroom first. Is it me, or are black people incapable of learning something that's not taught to them directly? Think about what that means. If you can't learn something that's not taught to you directly, it means that you'll never have any innovations. All of the like breakthroughs that have happened, like electricity, for example. Well, they had to learn something that didn't exist prior. I'm smarter than my dad and my mom. No slight at them. I just am. By their logic, I should not know things and keep in mind we live in the information age. In fact, she's giving information now, but I should not know things that they don't know. I swear, these people need to be told not to get ran over by a car. They want a good girl. I don't know what that means. Several narcissists taught me, please teach y'all daughters. Teach them what? Bad men are very accessible to get. They keep you on the edge of your seat and will ultimately cause you to lose everything because they have nothing to begin with. Okay. Being a 24-year-old with three bodies and my children's father's doing me so bad, of course he is. Never having a hoe phase or experience, I needed this. Yeah, because that's what you need. A single mother of three needs to be a hoe. She is she is preaching be a hoe to learn something. You got to be a hoe to learn something. And then these women go out and become hoes. And what do they learn? Some men use women for sex. You didn't know that going in? You're stupid. You actually had to sell booty to learn basic truth. Men like sex. Oh crap! It's a good thing I sucked all those penises. You stupid. All right, I'm gonna read two more. There's a reason I give good dating advice, and it's because I had a serial dating phase. Well, you could have been married, but you turned that down, didn't you? Some women are easily manipulated because they lack dating experience. Holy crap. There's wisdom in Hoa in the corner to her. She's stupid. All right. Me in bed right now, rent paid, haven't clocked in a job in years, turned your hurt into money. Okay, some more Ho talk, some more Ronnie Ho quotes. Moving on, let's see. All right, now we are going to look at somebody with a septum ring, and we all know what that means. It means that she's a witch. Here we go.
This comment that men want equality for women while boys do not. And it makes me think of the clip from that show. I've never seen the show, but I've seen the clip on TikTok in which an older woman was chastising John Hamm's character about how he was fighting for his right to still be an infant, to have a woman care for his every need like she is his mother and he is a helpless baby. And that has really stuck with me as well. The way men are fighting right now, they are fighting for their own helplessness while women are fighting for our freedom. We don't want to be your caretakers, and I don't understand why men want women to be their caretakers. Except for, unfortunately in this country, they are raised to not have emotional intelligence or to know how to care for themselves. And that's a problem men have to solve.
Okay, I said it before and I said it again. Emotional intelligence is something that unintelligent people made up to have something to call themselves with the word intelligent in it. They're not going to actually call themselves intelligent because they know they're idiots. But they are going to say, I'm emotionally intelligent. Look at the argument. We don't want you to take care of me, but we don't want to take care of you. We want everybody to take care of themselves. Okay, so what you're describing is a situation where the genders are not coming together. They're not working together. There isn't cohesion. You know how, like on the scene in Forrest Gump where Bubba was like, you lean on my back and I'm going to lean right up against yours. That way nobody could sneak up on us. Two people working together. They don't want that. What she's advocating for is a house divided, just for the sake of division. It's like she's not going to submit in a situation where a man is taking care of her. She's not going to get with a man who wants to be taken care of. Therefore, you have perpetual solidarity or you have perpetual singleness. Let's look at some more.
Girls have been outperforming boys in the school setting for years, and
Really?
there's legitimate concern about this gender gap that
Okay.
boys aren't graduating from high school at the same rates or pursuing and completing higher education at
Okay.
similar rates. But that framework for seeking solutions often positions the real struggles of boys and men as somehow antithetical to the goals of gender equity and to the opportunities for individuals across gender identity. A 2020 paper challenges.
Okay, so boys are underperforming, and this is a new phenomenon. But apparently, it's because they don't have enough of the new stuff. So let's just take the year that's on this. Let's just say 2020 is a year that they started underperforming. Now, instead of for looking at the past and finding out what the social conditions were when they were overperforming, what we're going to do is create more of the situation where they are underperforming. They underperform under feminism and gender confusion. So we need more of that. Let's see.
Is this framework, finding that across 74 countries studied, greater gender egalitarian values are actually associated with the improved academic performance of boys relative to girls. And this pattern held true across science, math, and even reading, where boys notoriously underperform girls on average. Gender egalitarian values refer to a society's underlying values around gender equality. That is, their cultural attitudes around gender identity. Are women and men equally important? Are they equally competent? Should they have the same rights? The more
Okay. Let me make sure I understand this properly. In countries that are more feminist, boys are doing better in school. You want to know the sad thing? The sad thing is, I believe her. And you want to know why I believe her? Is because in these countries, you're not learning real stuff. You're learning exactly what they teach you, which is a very easy concept for a young person, man or female, to grasp and understand. They have female teachers. They have female feminist teachers that feed feminist propaganda, and boys are just like, okay, blah, 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 blah. Diversity, equity, inclusion. Got it. Gold star for you, Mikey. I could see that happening. Like, yeah, so about that math thing, how does 2 plus 2 make you feel? Use your emotional intelligence to figure out the derivative. It's crap like that.
egalitarian, the cultural values, the improved academic performance of boys relative to girls. Researchers point to the way cultural values can really shape expectations of parents and teachers
I
and
love to
peers.
hear what
For
country
example, if
you're
the
talking about.
societal norms of masculinity dictate that the engagement in school and studying is somehow uncool or not masculine, that in turn can affect boys' behavior and their relative
That is not a sign of masculinity for a person to say. First of all, that has nothing to do with gender equality. But secondly, it's not masculine for somebody to say school is not cool. And it's typically not the men of society that's saying that to the boys. It's the women like the one in the last video that's saying crap like that to the boys. Just saying. And she says it with tits.
performance is just one of the ways that gender egalitarian values also serve to benefit boys and men and individuals across gender identity. Girls have been outperforming boys in the school setting for
Okay, so here we go with some feminism is good for boys and men. There you have it.
Men or women are different. They're unequal in so many ways, so many different things. You can't. A man is not a woman. A woman is not a man. Therefore, there's no equation. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it's invalid.
it's not fighting for equality. It's fighting for what different gender needs more. Men are women.
Asian women are so much better at being women. You ever wonder why the group of women with the smallest tits is the most desired? Even though everybody likes big tits? It's because they say stuff like this, while black and white women say crap like that.
Women are acting like men and men are acting like women. Women are chasing careers, money, and multiple partners. Men are seeking emotions, validation, and feelings. That's why men today feel useless, miserable, and suicidal, while women are unfulfilled, depressed, and lonely. When we stray away from our natural roles, we become a generation feeling empty and lost. Men drowned in emotions and women chasing fulfillment in all the wrong places. What's the result of all of this? Well, a broken society filled with confusion and misery. And
Okay, he's spot on. I'm not going to listen to the rest, but he is spot on. Basically, men don't see any value. The whole point in working hard is the American dream. The American dream consists of, 2.5 kids, wife, white picket fence, own a home, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Because that has become less and less reachable to the average man, it's like, why even try? Like, what are you working harder for at that point? Now, the women, they change their goals in life. Their goal in life is to buy stuff because they're stupid like that. Their goal in life, it was never the American dream. It was just to buy stuff and show other women how much more stuff she has. Therefore, they're going to continue to work and overwork themselves and OnlyFans and 304 and do whatever to get that stuff. While the man is like, something? I got my apartment, I got my dog, and I got my Xbox. Yeah, I probably could, I could have been promoted by now, but that's less time away from my video games. I mean, there's no motivation. They don't have the same desire for $1,000 purses that y'all do, or $25,000 purses that y'all do. Dang, that's stupid. All right. Shout out to the bearded man.
Why are young men afraid to approach women in person today? So it's been shown statistically that a lot of young men, particularly Gen Z men, they're not comfortable with approaching women they're interested in.
Young women are starting to...
I actually heard what that brother had to say earlier. I recognize his accent. I'm not going to play a whole video of a dude with a shirt off.
leave young men behind. For decades, women and girls have been streaking ahead of young men and boys in education, with far more women than men going to college or university in developed countries. But a new phenomenon is that in a growing number of countries, young women are now also more likely to be in work than young men. Most striking of all, in the UK, young women now earn more than young men too. To put it...
Okay. What this dude is doing is he's being tricky with the stats. He's saying young. He's making sure that he constantly put the word young in there. Young women have for a long time earned more than young men. And that's just the way society is structured because they value a woman's youth and beauty. Meaning that if I go into a restaurant, let's just say Applebee's, and I'm a young man and I say, I want a job. And they say, okay, I'll give you a job. You are now a dishwasher. And my sister, my twin sister, goes into Denny's and they say, okay, you are now a waitress. We both get minimum wage, but she gets tips. And then what I noticed when I was a young man, that there were a lot of cushy jobs, easy jobs, that girls that didn't require any education or training, that young women can get, that young men couldn't get. Now, this isn't considered sexism. I mean, I understand where the people who are doing the hiring are coming from. For example, babysitting. Babysitting may not be the highest paid job in the universe. However, it is easy. You're literally sitting. You're literally sitting in the house with a baby while the parents go out and do parent stuff. That is the easiest thing in the universe for a person to do. You're sitting with a child. If the child is older, you're playing with the child until the child goes to bed and you are still up making sure that the place don't catch on fire. That's what you're doing. This is a job that's easy and women do it. They don't want your BDE next to their kids. And they don't want your BDE next to their grandfather or grandmother. They just don't. Meaning that a caregiver for both young and old is out for men, in for women. Now, on the flip side, you would think that the, just stand there, sit, observe, and report jobs would be available to men, right? I mean, because the caregiving jobs are only available to women, you would assume that the security jobs for young people, where, many of it is, you're sitting looking at a monitor or you're just sitting in a booth on some top flight stuff, you would think that those are solely available to men. Wrong, because that's sexism. I mean, it's sexism to not hire a woman to defend, property. That's sexism. So you get my point. So back to this. In this stage in life, women are going to earn more because youth and beauty and all that stuff. Now that drastically changes as time progresses, but he's not talking about that. He makes sure he says young.
Put it another way, there's now a growing list of countries where the answers to who is doing most of the legwork raising kids, who is focused on getting a good education, and who is out working to bring home a good income are all women. If this were just about women advancing, it would be something to celebrate, but a substantial minority of young men are actively moving.
Why would you celebrate that? All right, moving on.
Moving backwards, with growing numbers increasingly disengaged from society. Across the developed world, the portion of young men who are neither in education, in work, or even looking for a job has been climbing for decades. In countries like the UK, France, Spain, and Canada, there are now more young men than women outside the economy for the first time in history, many of this group reporting mental health problems. The repercussions are visible everywhere. Young male support for populist right-wing parties is on the rise. Violent unrest is a rising threat with a growing pool of young men with little stake in society or the future. And
now, notice he didn't say violence is increasing. What he's saying is society is worried about violence because young men aren't working. Because if a young man isn't working, he has to be out knocking people over. Like, I'm bored, I'm gonna go beat up an old woman, because that's how men think.
Relationship formation itself is being affected as growing numbers of economically independent female graduates discover they have less need than ever to pair up with a man for financial support. Reversing the slide among non-graduate men will not be...
By the way, that's the only reason why they would pair up with a man. See, and he's completely confusing cause and effect. Relationships were broken well before this new phenomenon of lazy men. In fact, this new phenomenon of lazy men are a byproduct of broken relationships. Men are not going to work unless you pay them. And the currency just so happens to be pussy. I mean, that's just is what it is. Person could make $1 million a year. It really wouldn't matter if he's not getting laid. Or if he's not getting, like, white picket fence, family, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't really matter at that point. He's like, why work twice as hard and I'm not going to get anything in that regard?
Easy, but it's an essential challenge for the years ahead.
All right. Do a couple more of these and then I'll go into the feature presentation.
On today's episode of Grown Men Hating on Teenage Girls, Senator John Kennedy is very concerned that social media is making Gen Z girls and women fragile and that it's reaffirming our culture of victimhood. In response to that, I would love to read you a poem called When I Say That We Are All Teen Girls by Olivia Gatwood. When I say that we are all teen girls, what I mean is that when my grandmother called to ask why I didn't respond to her letter, all that I heard was, why didn't you text me back? Why don't you love me? And how can I talk about my grandmother without also mentioning that if everyone is a teen girl, then so are the birds. Their soaring clicks, their squawking throats, and the sea of...
She's too stupid. I can't watch it. I'm just going to note that I would smash simply because a full ginger, that's what they're red and crap in their face and stuff like that, is on my bucket list. But that's the only reason. Yeah, I want a chick like the Wendy's logo. So, and once again, just to scratch it off my bucket list, you know, there's a lot of stuff on the bucket list that I'm not necessarily attracted to, but I have to tell myself that I did it before I kicked the bucket. Ginger is one of them. There's also goth chicks, midgets, and Eskimos, and a whole bunch of crap. So yes, for that reason, I would. Everything else is foolishness. Grown men, something, on teenage girls. Yeah, they're called fathers. Shut up, you stupid slag. All right, next video.
Bro, I'm sorry, but this generation of men and women, you guys are not off the hook, but we're going to talk about the guys right now, are screwed. Screwed. All right, listen, I just finished the gym. All right, met one of my boys, right? I haven't seen him in a little bit, but he was telling me about this girl that he was been texting, right? And he likes her or whatever. Okay, good for you. So I approach him in the gym, right? And I'm like, yo, bro, how was that date? I know you guys were talking about it, whatever. He goes, nah, bro, it was great. She picked me up. She picked you up? He picked you up? Okay, why didn't you pick her up? He goes, nah, I didn't want to waste gas. Tough economy we got. All right, it's okay, cool, whatever. Where did you guys go? He goes, bro, we went to Applebee's, bro. It was great. I know a lot of you females be thinking about oh, I never go to Applebee's on my first day. Okay, it doesn't matter. And then he goes, bro, but she picked up the bill. I didn't even want to pay, and she actually picked it up. I'm like, I'm Arab. I don't think you guys understand that my dad would disown me if he found out I let another girl pay for anything, especially one that I'm talking to. Oh my God. So that great convo. And then she took me home. So then I'm in my mind, I'm like, oh, did she open the door for you too, bro? And she smack your little ass. Come on, bro. What are you doing? Oh my God, bro. I'm so.
What a complete moron. And this is an example of the confused young men that exist nowadays. First of all, I hate it when people point to stereotypes of their ethnicity, even though they live outside of the stereotype in every other way. For example, the crucifix around your neck, the tattoos on your arm, and the juju beads. And then he comes out and says, I'm Arab. If my father heard about me, ever letting a woman, really, that would be his complaint? It's not all the other crap. It's you actually let her pick up a check. Okay. See, this is what happens when you allow women to piecemeal the parts of chivalry that they wish to maintain. It's like, okay, we're going to keep the aspects of chivalry that we like, which is you buy me stuff, but I don't actually have to follow any rules of ladiness. I still want you to be a gentleman. But me being a lady, yeah, that's where I draw the line because I'm Arab. Okay. Technically, you should be asking her father to court her. Like, pardon me, sir. I was wondering if I may call on your daughter. Well, which daughter? I would like to call on your second from oldest daughter, please. What do you offer in exchange? Well, sir, kind sir, I have a 4.0 GPA and I have a bunch of, top tier universities looking at me. So, do I qualify? Like none of the other rules of chivalry applies except this. All right. So, now that we heard about how much women are killing it in the game, even though they don't out earn men, they still like to push this propaganda. Like between the age of 18 and 19, women are winning. That's stupid. That's stupid. Asian kids, are better than black kids at basketball between the age of 4 and 5. That's stupid. But since we're talking about how they're killing it in the game, look at the title of the video. Now we're going to talk about the other side and how bitches still bitch. Bitches still bitch. All right. Oh, my bad. Now I got to say it like short. Bitch! AI in the workplace is nearly 3 times more likely to take a woman's job as a man's job. UN reports. UN reports fine. So let's just start with the whole concept that women jobs are significantly different than men jobs. Because women go after work-life balance, where men who actually believe in the American dream or believe that it's achievable by them, they go after high pay. Meaning that if a man was offered an opportunity for greater pay at the expense of lower work-life balance, then they'll take the greater pay. That's why truck drivers exist. I found out the other day that they actually sleep in their truck. So, and I didn't know this. I've never been inside of a big rig, but apparently there's like a little apartment in the back of it with full twin beds. And yeah, so now that I know that, I'm like, wow, women are less prone to be in that particular industry because they like to sleep in a Sealy Posturepedic bed at night with too many decorative pillows. So let's see what the UN has to say about AI taking women's jobs.
AI in the workplace is nearly 3 times more likely to take a woman's job as a man's, UN report finds. As workers grapple with anxiety around artificial intelligence replacing them, women in the workplace may have extra reason to fear. Jobs traditionally held by women are much more exposed to AI than those traditionally held by men, according to new data from the United Nations International Labour Organization, ILO, and Poland's National Research Institute, NASK. In higher income countries, jobs with the highest risk of AI automation make up about 9.6% of women's jobs, compared to 3.5% of jobs among men, the report released Tuesday found. More broadly, 25% of global jobs are potentially exposed to generative AI, a percentage that increases to 34% among higher income countries. The report notes clerical and administrative jobs have the highest exposure to AI, which could be one reason why AI poses an outsized risk to women workers. Between 93% and 97% of secretary and administrative assistant positions in the U.S. were held by women between 2000 and 2019, according to the U.S. Census Bureau. Comparatively, women made up between 40% and 44% of the workforce in the same 20-year period. Secretaries and administrators are the 5th most common professions for women in the U.S., according to the Department of Labor. Notably, the study does not mention caretaker jobs, such as health aides, that require emotional labor and are more likely to be held by women. They are considered more AI proof.
Okay, I'm gonna stop right there for a second. Women tend to gravitate towards social fields. And to be perfectly honest, that's the reason that they work. The reason that they work is to have a group of women to gossip to and get paid while they do it. Don't believe me? There was a movie starring Beyonce Knowles and Idris Elba, and the white woman whose names escape me right now. I know she's famous, but you know, forgive me for not remembering. Not to say she wasn't sexy in that movie. Nevertheless, the movie was called Obsessed, and Idris Elba was this successful businessman, and he bought a house with his wife, his beautiful wife in the form of Beyonce Knowles, and his newborn son. Now, what he did with that was he said, okay, I have the beautiful wife. I have earned the American dream. And then she says, I want to go back to school. Like, why? We make enough money. I make enough money for the both of us. Yeah, but you always have something interesting to talk about. I want some stories too. You're going to spend 8 hours a day away from your toddler, or maybe it was a newborn, so you can have a story to tell. So they gravitate towards that. They love to blah, 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 blah. They love to gossip. They love to talk, and they love to shop. So these type of jobs, these social jobs, give them the opportunity to do just that. Unfortunately, these are also the jobs that are targeted the fastest. And it's not that men are out there saying, yeah, I want women to lose their jobs when they create this technology. It's just that it's easily replaceable. It's the easiest thing to replace. For example, back in the day, way before my day, this was like 100 years ago, when they had 411 operators, or I think you just dialed 555 1212. I think that's what it was. Anyway, you dialed the operator, and it was always a woman, and it was her job to connect one person to another. Like, and they had to do it manually because the phone didn't just, you dial a person's number and you got it. You got that person. No, the job was more to the effect of you called. Every time you pick up the phone went to the same place. It went to like a hub, and this hub was full of women on skates. And these women on skates would answer the phone, and then you tell them, like, yes, operator, can you give me 5274? And she would take the wire from your phone and put it to 5274, and 5274 will pick up, and that's how y'all have a conversation. That she could listen in on. But because it deals with people talking and communication, they were a shoo-in for it because they just like talking to people all day. Now, obviously, that is gone with, the rotary phone, and then later the touch-tone phone. And then you had women in skates who skated up to your window and say, hey, do you want anything, or what can I get you? Do you want a milkshake or something like that? This was the old-timey drive-throughs and stuff. That's gone. People just drive through and get their foods. It's not deliberate. It's not deliberate that they're doing this. It's just that it's very easy to replace these type of jobs. It's very easy. We have the automated service now to where, that's taken away a lot of customer service jobs. And we also have I mean, before that, they were outsourced. Actually, it wasn't even before that. We have websites. I mean, listen, the way things are set up, communication is the easiest thing for technology to replicate. Because that's what the World Wide Web is. It's a communication hub. Anyway, let's see what John Henry is talking about. I appreciate the contribution. It says, actually, emotional intelligence was coined by psychologist Daniel Goldman in 1995. Holy, okay. The book was on the bestseller list for a good minute. Yeah. See, here's the thing. We don't know if he was intelligent, but let's just say he was. An intelligent person could pander to people who want to feel intelligent. It's one of those words like street smarts. It's one of those words that people say to feel more intelligent by saying it. I'm street smart. You know, you put that added curb in the definition so you can actually just call yourself smart. The fact that it came out in 1995 means that, you know, he is a psychologist who is looking for something new. So he came up. Now, the field of psychology is a self-check field, meaning it's not like winning a Nobel Prize in physics that requires, you know, actual testing of your theory. You know, there's application. There's, you know, there's people who actually will run the test of your theory to see if E actually equals MC squared in the real world. That doesn't really fly in psychology. You can just make stuff up and nobody will question you. And the only people around to challenge it is other people with the exact same credentials as you. So you can make up a notion that sounds good and push it onto society, as apparently he did. And that's why it's like, okay, let's just make something up called emotional intelligence. And we're going to ride with it. It's not a real thing. You want to know what it is? It's something so a new replaceable woman, because now it can be replaced by AI, which and really could have been replaced by a book or a flyer. But now you have this chick, and every now and again, you have a project due, depending on the type of work you have. You have a project, you have a deadline, and then they say, hey, GC, you know, did you go to the emotional intelligence awareness meeting? It's mandatory. And then there's some middle-aged chick who goes out and says, you know, yes, today we are going to gauge your emotional intelligence. You, sir, do you like babies? Well, yes, I do. Do you know what it feels like to be a baby? No, I don't. I've long since forgotten. That's because you're not emotionally intelligent. You actually have to sit through dumb crap like that. The fact that you're back in this foolishness means that you haven't sat through enough dumb shit. You haven't been in enough of these useless meetings where you're just sitting there hoping that somebody's titties pop out just so you can free your mind from the foolishness that is going on in front of you. It is complete and total, utter trash. Anyway, let's play some more.
Automation versus augmentation. While AI has shown potential to gobble up jobs like software engineers and computer programmers, the technology may also threaten entry-level positions across white-collar industries beyond administrative roles. A Bloomberg report in April found AI could replace more than half the tasks performed by market research analysts and 2/3 of tasks done by sales representatives. The technology could perform only 9% and 21% of the respective tasks of those positions' managers. The ILO NASC report isn't meant to say that AI will eliminate clerical or entry-level jobs. Rather, these jobs still require human involvement in some capacity, and identifying jobs that AI can partially complete can help prepare the workforce in those industries for technological changes. This index helps identify where Gen AI is likely to have the biggest impact, so countries can better prepare and protect workers. Marek Troshinsky, senior expert at NASC, said in the report. Rembrandt Koning, associate professor of business administration at Harvard Business School, believes one key to women future-proofing workplace roles that may be more exposed to AI is to follow the framework of viewing AI as a tool, not a threat. This goes back to the distinction between automation versus augmentation when we think about AI. Koning told Fortune, "We can think of this as a threat, which is that it's going to automate away a lot of these clerical jobs that might be held more by women. On the other hand, we can think of AI as automating a lot of this work, of allowing workers to take on tasks that might be higher paying or that there might be more competition." Gender differences in AI use. While Koning
Okay, I see what she's saying. She's saying basically like, all right, I'm going to instead of for worried that AI is going to take my job, I'm going to actually just use AI to make my job easier. Now, I have to say, clerical people is not an 8-hour a day job, meaning that there's a lot of downtime in it. And what she's saying is we can use this to get even more downtime. And the thing is that they're right. You see, secretaries and clerks and stuff like that, especially in the day of computer, I don't even know why they have clerks. They most certainly aren't file clerks, which is what originally it was, meaning that, you know, you have a folder and you say, hey, put this in a file and bring me the McManorberry file, and they go and get the McManorberry file, and really they only need to know how to alphabetize stuff and crap like that. Like a lawyer would tell the clerk to do stuff like that. You know, find me the legal definition of such and such. Now they have Google now, which makes things a lot easier, but clerks still exist. And once again, that's because clerks and secretaries and stuff like that are the last thing people hire. They're the last people that people hire. They are a byproduct of a company, a firm, or whatever it is, doing so well that they have excess cash to where they can pay somebody to make life a teensy weensy bit easier. They're a luxury item. They're a way to say to clients or what have you, potential partners, that we're a successful business because we can afford to pay some chick $60,000 to $80,000 to do her nails and answer the phone and give a personal touch. There's a movie called Imitation of Life. There was a white woman in that movie. Her job was to mail letters. She was an envelope stuffer. And the reason that they hired her to do it as opposed to just printing the address on a thing is because people prefer a handwritten touch, meaning that she was a luxury item. It's not needed. They can easily have replaced her with, just a sticker with the address. But they're like, no, we want this personal touch. So we're going to hire this chick to write out the addresses one by one. So they're always going to be like these luxury jobs. And women are always going to gravitate towards luxury jobs. Another example of this, flight attendant. They're not becoming pilots at large droves because, math and crap like that. But they are becoming flight attendants. Flight attendant is a luxury position. They're there to make the flight a little bit more comfortable. If you have a 4-hour flight, it's their job to make sure that you have a banana and soda. during this 4 hours, and that's it. I want y'all to think about what a flight attendant does for a second, okay? Most flights are normal. They're not the stuff that you see on YouTube where the flight attendant has to, move somebody in the back for calling a baby an N-word or some crap like that. Most flight attendant jobs consist of saying something like, 2 to the right, 2 to the front, and 2 to the rear. And then, they go and sit down when the flight takes off, hit the like button. And then when the flight is high enough in the air, they push that cart down the aisle and give you sodas and crap. And that's it. That's a whole day's work. It's a luxury item. The pilot isn't a luxury item. The pilot makes sure that you make it to point A and point B safely. The flight attendant, however, luxury item. Now, as long as commercial flights make a lot of money, then they're justified, because what flight attendants make per flight is a small percentage of, basically, if the flight has 80 people in it, a flight attendant's pay is just like the cost of one ticket. So they like, okay, for the cost of one ticket, we're going to make everybody a little bit more comfortable. It makes sense. Maybe even a half a ticket. So that being the case, when they find themselves when places have an opportunity to do so, they're going to be the first to go. But that's not going to happen anytime soon for women.
Sees a path forward for workers to use AI to their benefit. He also sees a gender barrier. Women are using AI tools at an average 25% lower rate than men, his research found. There's not one clear reason for this disparity, Koning said, but one explanation outlined in a working paper co-authored by Koning is women are more concerned about the ethics of AI. Some fear they will be judged as cheating for using the technology, or that leaning on AI tools will cause male colleagues to question their intelligence. Men seem to be much more confident.
Okay, this is all cap. This is all cap. The reason why women don't embrace AI technology like men, and I didn't even know that was true, but listening at it, it makes sense, is because it's not a social technology. Women don't like non-social technology. You invent, text messages. Oh, they on that all day. You invent Instagram. Oh, they all on that all day. Any type of social media, they on that all day. They know the ins and outs of it immediately. You invent a technology that, you invent filters, they're on that all day. You invent a technology to where it allows you to correspond with the computer as if it's a human, which is not social. They're like, oh, yeah, no. I'm more of the emotional intelligence, not the actual stuff.
Shall I say, overconfident, that if they use AI, they'll still get all the benefits, Koning said. The onus of changing who feels comfortable accessing AI falls not on the women workers, but on leaders in the workplace, Koning said. In many workplaces, workers, usually men, experiment with AI tools in the shadows. Even if an office doesn't have a license for or partnership with an AI company, its management should still set clear expectations and resources on how to use the technology, Koning suggested. If we want to make sure it's inclusive, it includes all workers. It's the job of a leader to bring everybody in, he said.
Okay. It most certainly isn't the job of a leader to bring everybody in. Take it from a nerd. Take it from a nerd. Was it the job of the coach of the high school basketball team to make sure that I had a position on the high school basketball team? That doesn't make any sense when you say it aloud like that, now does it? But of course, when it applies to women, it's men's job to make sure that, they are equally accommodated and represented. And then when they are equally accommodated and represented, they say, we're outpacing the boys and the boys need to step it up. And what they need to do is embrace more feminism. Y'all see how this works, right? Y'all see the tomfoolery that's going on, right? Get it? Got it? Good. Okay. All right. So we're going to go to the one that prompted this. And then I am going to shut down after that. So because I got someplace I got to be at 6:30 PST. So got to get ready for that. And besides, I was talking for much, much, much too long. So it is what it is. All right. So let me look that up. But while that happens, let me just see some of the comments. It says, women don't know what they want. Well, the funny thing is even though they think that they're being, individuals, largely women want what men tell them to want. Men tell them to want a, overpriced purse and they want it. Fundamentally what women want is the leg up on other women and men, but primarily other women. Men know what they want. That's how they're so good at selling them. And by the way, if a man convinces you to sell yourself for something, then he is your pimp. Make no mistake about that. By any definition of the word, he is your pimp. Society has become women's pimp. They're basically saying, okay, I want you to sell that box and, to buy this Gucci. You're going to sell that Gucci to get this Gucci. And they do. That makes them pimped by Gucci. All right. And thanks for that. Let's see who else has something to say. Let me just stop this for a second. I don't know who that is. I would like an Urban from Platinum Streams. I don't know what that is. Shout out to him. I haven't seen him in a while. Yes, he is capping. Absolutely. More men work critical infrastructure jobs, admin, secretary type work. I don't give a fuck. And that's the thing. We haven't needed these jobs for quite some time. Quite frankly, we haven't needed like clerks and et cetera like that since the invention of a computer or even the invention of an answering machine. We really don't need flight attendants. We can have vending machines. We can have machines on the back of a plane that you just walk up and get your own damn soda. You scan your ticket and a soda pops out. No, these are luxury items. So they're not going to be replaced by technology because the technology to replace them already exists. The technology to replace secretaries have existed for a long time. They're called computers. It's called Google, but they still have secretaries and clerks and crap like that. These jobs aren't going anywhere anytime soon. These women just feel threatened by it. And by the way, it didn't take, first of all, whoever wrote this article don't know what AI is. They really don't. The jobs that they're talking about, they don't, nor do they ever need like AI to replace them. Because you don't need artificial intelligence to do a job that doesn't really require high intelligence. That's why in the beginning he was saying, they're using AI to try to take over like some of the software engineering jobs because it requires intelligence to do that. And that's why they've been trying so long. But to answer a phone, to say, hi, welcome to Johnson and Johnson. You literally could have like one of those things that ring dings when you walk into a Chinese liquor store, and it dings, but instead it could just say, welcome to Johnson and Johnson. You could literally have that. Most jobs that women gravitate towards are luxury jobs. It's completely useless. And I'll give another example. And this is anything that deals with those 8-month certificate of completion courses that they go through. One of those, I'm learning to be an X-ray technician. I'm learning to be a, what do they call those? The people that does the ultrasound for babies. I forget. I remember a chick told me she did that, and it didn't pay much. But the people that put the gel on the belly, and then put the machine on the belly, and then they say, "That's your baby's. That's your baby's heartbeat." That person. It took you 8 months to figure that out. You literally don't need a person whose specific job it is to do that. That is a luxury item. The nurse is qualified to do that. The registered nurse is qualified to do that. And the doctor is qualified to do that. So you have, 2 layers of people who are already qualified to do a thing, and then they got you who is not qualified to do any of the other stuff that nurses and doctors do. You just have that one task. And not only that, the nurse and the doctor, they can do all the stuff that you can do, and you can only do one of the stuff that they can do. That's why they have the ultrasound technician next to the phlebotomist, next to the what is it? What's another thing that they have? Who's the broad that weighs you and check your blood pressure? Next to the blood pressure, bitch. These are all things that, and so you go into, because I just got back from the doctor. Go into a doctor's office, and my doctor's just happened to be female, attractive too. You go into a doctor's office, and then you have this chick, and then she just takes you in, she weighs you, and she takes your blood pressure, and she put that thing on your finger to check the oxygen. These are all things the doctor is qualified to do. They don't need her, but they still have her. So the thought that these women have, like, oh, once they stop needing us, they're going to get rid of us, is cap. Well, I'm thinking like the nurse practitioner. Actually, it's more education involved in that. The fact that they actually just fire women when they don't need them anymore is cap. Most women work in places where we don't actually need them. We need doctors. We don't really need the person that weighs you and take your blood pressure. And I think the doctor took my blood pressure too. No, she didn't. She looked at my ears and she listened to my lungs. But she could have weighed me. Or if I would have walked in the room and there was a sign that says, please step on scale and tell doctor your results, I would have done that. Or if the doctor just said, hey, how much do you weigh? I would have just told her. And it would have been more accurate because I weigh myself naked in the morning. So but I of course had clothes when I was at the hospital. So we don't actually need them. I mean, you know, when you go into CVS, they have a blood pressure machine right there. Technology has already replaced these broads, but these broads still exist. Why? Because they're doing the thing that they always have been doing and what nature tells them to do, and that is be helpmates. A stewardess is the pilot's helpmate. A secretary is the businessman's helpmate. A nurse is the doctor's helpmate. They you know, they're being nice to haves, but they're not essential. Receptionists, nurses, special massages, you name it. Game training. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, and this isn't me thumping on nurses or anything like that, but I mean, in fact, this is me helping you out. You know, they actually aren't. AI is not replacing you. The technology to replace you has already existed. You are in the clear. You are in the clear. I mean, most of your jobs are somewhere in the neighborhood of Walmart greeters, where Walmart would still exist if somebody wasn't at the door saying "Welcome to Walmart." But there are. I mean, you know, it's kind of like that. When a company is doing well and they have excess jobs, that's where y'all show up because these are more comfortable positions. You know, like weighing somebody and then going back to, you know, twerking on Instagram, literally, is something that you would do. Basically, if the job is more comfortable than being a housewife, then a woman would do it. They only do jobs that are more comfortable than being a housewife. The technology to replace them has existed for a long time. Each one of these jobs, a vending machine for stewardesses, you know, one of those CVS blood pressure machines for, you know, the nurses or the person that takes you in, an answer machine for the secretary. You don't need AI for that. What you do need is AI for the actual stuff, because the doctor, there was like a form that they gave me. Not when I went to the checkup yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, not when I went to the checkup last week. When I went to the checkup last week, there was they didn't have that form, but I have signed a form, and it said that, you know, we are going to use this procedure as a learning tool for a machine, meaning that they're going to use what the doctor is doing to teach a machine to do it in the place of doctors. So they are looking for research data to feed a, I guess, robot that, I don't know, gives surgeries and stuff like that. Now, this isn't going to happen anytime soon. Of course, doctors shouldn't really worry about it. You know, they'll be retired by the time something like this remotely take place, even if it does. But AI is used to replace jobs of actual substance. That's what they're trying to use it for. They're using it to try to do actual things that current technology don't allow you to do. That's why they're trying to come out with the robotic car. You know, they want to put truck drivers out of business. They want to put Uber drivers out of business. They want to put, you know, well, I guess Uber already put cab drivers out of business, but, you know, that's what they want to do. They want to, these are things that require greater skills than a vending machine. So that's what it is. The person who did this don't know what AI is. That's all I'm saying. All right. Now, this last chick, then I'm going to go. Hit the like button. Spitting knowledge.
Young men have not been able to keep up with young women financially, and they're being beat out by young.
Okay, so capping. Well, actually, no, because she did say young. She did say young. And once again, these comfort jobs, if you have two people, boy and girl, graduate high school at the same time, the girl will become a stewardess before the guy becomes a pilot. Now, whatever he's doing to pay for school while he's in aviation school is going to be his income. So the books are going to say, oh, look, young women are outperforming young men. Yes, until he actually becomes a pilot. That's something they leave out the book. Well, they put it in the book when they complain about wage gaps. Just saying. Hit the like button.
Just in an effort to take back control. It's also the reason that young men are with young women. When we are put on equal footing, they lose. And it's.
What do you mean put on equal footing? This broad. What do you mean put on equal footing? Besides OnlyFans, which isn't equal footings by any stretch of the imagination, when are men and women put on equal footing and women dominate?
Refuse to try. They want to be handed the trophy without trying. And they did not have to compete with women financially or in the workplace. And they want to go back to those times because they don't want to have to be kind to women. They don't.
Does it really matter, I mean, if a man is kind? First of all, we don't have to compete now. And we don't have to be kind now. We don't have to do shit. We don't really have to deal with you at all. Unless your job requires that you do so. Mines don't. Or at least very little dealing. But it most certainly don't require that we have to compete with you. In fact, many young men are just saying, I don't want to compete because I don't get anything if I win. Most pilots get their training in the military. Well, it explains why it's male dominated. But nevertheless, you enter the Air Force at entry level. I don't know if they call it private in the Air Force, but you as an airman, and she enters the workforce as a stewardess. She's going to out earn you in that age group until you actually, learn how to become a fighter pilot.
Want to have to emotionally connect to women in order to have a relationship.
Some type of common sense that they do not see in what was, before what's currently happening, a very female-centric society.
Post-election analysis pointed to the manosphere, economics, and old school sexism as possible causes.
Holy crap.
The truth is, there is no way.
They just love telling themselves that. They really do. So when they're losing, they're saying, oh, it's the wage gap, patriarchy, make things fair. And then if somebody were to make things fair, yeah, we outgrowing you. I remember I used to play Halo with my cousin. I haven't played video games, or at least not system video games, for quite some time. I'll play like a cell phone game to pass time, but not system video games. I haven't played system video games for a long time. So this is like Halo 1 on Xbox One. And he would lose. And every time he did, he would adjust the rules to his favor. Like no rocket launchers, no snipe weapons. Basically, every time he loses, he would take how he lost. This is my younger cousin, by the way. He would take how he lost and say this rule to his advantage until he finally won. And then he talks shit. That's what women are doing. I want you to have an equal amount of women and equal pay and equal. And then all of a sudden say, yeah, we the same as y'all. Now, of course, if that equality ever tips in their favor, then they're going to talk about superiority because they demanded equal in universities. And then when the number of women surpass, they don't want equal anymore.
Because women are growing and men are not. So there is no way backwards.
Allowing you to grow.
When women,
you're growing because men are watering you. Literally. It's called welfare. It's called monies. It's called Title IX. You're growing because men are your soil, water, and sunlight. Hearing these bitches talk is like listening to a tree that you planted talk about how much taller he is than you.
women were forced to be children for their entire
children.
Wow. That's a fair question. Who's forcing you now with your current behavior? Somebody say, and Trump is turning the water off. Yeah. This is interesting. I don't like to talk politics on my channel, but I'll make an exception now, and I'll just put this on members only. Trump has always talked about, or at least his advocates have always say he's going to drain the swamp. And what the swamp represents is resources that people use to get to a place that they don't deserve to be in. Now, unfortunately, a lot of Black people are going to be harmed in this process. But yeah, it is harming like the welfare class of women. And truth be told, it's also harming the clerical and secretarial, class of women too, with the government job cuts and stuff like that. So it is harming women, and it's also putting certain companies on notice. I remember years ago, Goldman Sachs vowed to invest like $100 billion into Black women. I was like, whoa, what the hell? It was supposed to be like $10 billion every year for 10 years. We're going to invest in Black women, which I don't know if that'll be a sound investment. Not because they're Black women, but because I don't know of anything that's an investment that's based on ethno-genders. Like, I just don't. And because they're Black women, they have less of what anybody wants. I'm pausing right there because I want that to sink in. They have less of what anybody wants. For example, if they were to say, I'm going to invest in Mexicans or even Mexican women, and then all of a sudden, there's 10 new taquerias in your neighborhood. Everybody is happy because everybody loves Mexican food. And if they say that they were going to invest in Chinamen, and then there's just like a whole bunch of more doctors, or if they were to invest in black men and the NBA just becomes filled with, talent that was otherwise undiscovered. But if they invest in black women, I don't know what the outcome is. And keep in mind that they have already spent tens of billions of dollars already, and we haven't seen shit. That's just keeping it a buck. Like, it's like, okay, it's $10 billion over the course of 10 years. You started this more than 10 years ago. Where are all these thriving black female-owned businesses? The only thing black women sell is crap to themselves. The only thing that they can sell or serve is crap to themselves. If you invest in China women, you get a good massage. Sometimes with a nice ending. And they could advertise it too. You'll see it. If you live in California, you'll see it. They'll actually say Asian massage. Have a black woman say black women massage. Ancient ghetto secret. Imagine them trying to market. Somebody said selling food stamps. Imagine them trying to market anything. People don't want what they have. So it's a moot point. It's a bad investment. Everything has a lower value the moment you touch it. Lululemon. The moment you touch it, it has a lower value. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Where are all these industries? So what happened was, because of DEI pressure from Donald Trump, anti-DEI pressure from Donald Trump, they dropped the word black in that, and they're still just going to invest in women, which, like, okay, I guess we will be seeing those Asian massage parlors.
Oh man.
Even no financial freeze. Even then, women were poisoning their husbands. If you try to take away.
Now I gotta say it like short. Bitch! Listen at this bitch. We used to have to poison men to get away from housewifeness. So you admit that women are a bunch of treacherous, poisonous bitches that give Cinderella apples and shit. You nasty, excuse me, they give Snow White apples and shit. You nasty, immoral, ugly, no hair having bitch.
Of our freedom now.
Somebody said more buffets too. And most importantly, more families. You give a China woman $10,000, she'll give you a doctor in 22 years. You give a black woman $10,000, she'll bitch about reparations the next year.
Now that we have created the lives that we want to lead, now that we have the freedom.
Somebody said, black women massage conjures a different image. Of course it conjures a different image. It conjures the image of fucking chicken grease on your back. That's what it conjures. It conjures, like 7 of Kentucky Fried Chicken's 11 herbs and spices on your fucking back mixed with oil. That's what it conjures. And instead of for that soothing music, that soothing China music that they play when I get a massage, it'll be just some obnoxious ratchet shit and a woman randomly hitting a tambourine for no damn reason. It'll be burping, and it'll be a couple of farts in there. It'll be more expensive. And there's a thing that that my China woman likes to do, or she's good at doing. That's why I go to her. And that is, there's a bean on top of the table. So you have the massage table with the face hole in it. And then you have close to the roof, you have a bar, like a gymnastic bar, a monkey bar. That's the best way to describe it. Where she holds on to that to adjust her weight as she walks along my back with her bare feet. But the thing is that she's 100 pounds at most. At most, she's 100 pounds. And she could do that. And sometimes she put her knee in it. Every now and again, I don't pressure her, but if she feels it's necessary, if she feels something in my back that needs the knee, she puts the knee in it. You think I'm going to let one of these fat ass bitches try something like that? Fuck no. Walk out of there with scoliosis and shit. Fuck that. Fuck that.
To leave. Now that we are outperforming you in all of these arenas.
Religious principles, you're going to destroy religion. Yeah, and not to mention random fake hairs and stuff. Plus, they got gloves like freaking baseball mitts. Nobody want that. You want like a big thumb. I had a Filipina with a big ass thumb, and she just got like deep into it. And for those of you who are thinking thoughts, she got deep into like my back, not other stuff. But yeah, you want long steely fingers. And sometime a big thumb, but they be like on some catcher's mitt shit, just like big fat ass hands just pounding the back of your person and shit, like a fucking grandma church hug. Nope.
Even more hypocrites packed into the church than there were before. They're not there because they love Christ. They're there because they want power.
The fact that this chick here, that she's going to end all religion and the women, I want you to really think about this. She's talking like there's going to be some type of retaliation.
Oh, here's another one over 35. He's bald, yes, but where's his dad bod and shit? See, bitches just be talking.
To men choosing to find more meaning and purpose in life. And they are more men who are attending church more? What are you going to do? What's the
Okay. Somebody say feminists have been dreaming about surpassing man. That's the purpose of feminism. They know they are not doing better, but they lie about it anyway. Of course they do. That is the purpose of feminism. For some feminists, for other feminists, realize that their power comes from men. So if they ever became more powerful than men, then who's going to give them their power? They understand that it will implode. They understand that feminism exists because men allow it to exist, and feminism is only as powerful as men are willing to allow it to be. They understand that. Now, black women, it's different because feminism don't come from black men. It comes from, or it is not empowered by black men. It's empowered by other men. So they could treat their men like shit and still be empowered by another group of men. But if white women treated white men like shit and white men lose power, then China will start binding these bitches' feet. Just saying. By the way, feet binding is an ancient ritual that Chinamen did to royal women. It's fucked up and funny at the same time. I heard that too. Maybe it's black men that are doing that. And rightly so. And white men are starting to go to church. Maybe she's talking from a white perspective.
The negative reaction to men wanting to embrace more Christian values. What really happened was we saw feminism reach a terrible, terrible, terrible point where the very identity of men and women was confused. We've seen families be broken down at women divorcing at high rates. We've seen men be devalued in their masculinity, be demonized. You cannot fight any type of movement and not have men backing you.
What the fuck is demonized? I was rocking with this brother. What the fuck is demonized? It's demonized. It's demonized. Damn it. God damn it. All right. I'm going to let that slide.
It won't happen. It can't happen. And what she means by women want.
Maybe he know a word I don't know. Maybe demonize is the process of dimming somebody. I'm curious. Hit the like button. Well, there's diminished value. Yeah, so it's demonized.
To not look at women as helpmates, because that's what the Bible says women are. Doesn't mean that you have to treat women horribly, or treat them unlovingly. No, they want to be put at the same equal playing field when it comes to leadership as men. It just won't happen. It just won't happen. Let's read a few of these comments, see what the people have to say. Top comment says, I'm starting to believe they are trying to roll back protections to begin training the next generation. They're not focused on us, except to make us conform by financially punishing us. But if the next gen comes into the world with these laws in place, they have nothing to compare personally. What's interesting is you hear all these claims of women doing really well, and they are pursuing education at a higher rate. But they also own majority of student loan debt. I think up to like 65%.
Wow. He's spitting truth there. There's no denying that. They do own like a large portion of the student loan debt. No lies told.
Which you're going to have to pay back. You will be paying those student loans back. Same thing with housing, right? As much as they own houses, they're also in debt and house poor. Men typically only buy a house in many cases when it makes sense, when they plan on raising a family. Another comment here says, F the patriarchy and their artificial systems.
Okay. Cortez Smith says, I'm going to respond. It says, but women are not pursuing more education. Well, women are always going to pursue education. Well, I'm not going to say always. As long as education is a social and status thing, they're going to pursue it. School is what they're really pursuing. The ability to, I mean, high school is like the best thing ever for women until college. You ever stop and think about like women's favorite movies? You know, it's outside of the rom-coms. It's always, you know, the cool girl in high school. And what is the cool girl in high school? What's the mean girl in high school? What's the clueless girl in high school doing? You know, let's talk about these high school kids and the one that's never been kissed and the old broad that went back to high school and pretended to be a teenager just to kick it with the popular kid. That is their life. That is, you know, that gives them so much joy. The same way sports or, you know, video games give men joy. The social atmosphere of school gives them joy. Like the degree is just a byproduct of, you know, sorority parties and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And just having the social climate to where they can gossip all the fucking time. That's really why they go to church too. It's a social climate. Now, men, if they don't have a practical use for college, they're not going to continue to go. Meaning that there's really no reason for a man to go if he's not going to major in something substantial when he can become an electrician and make more money than an accountant who went to college. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. And that's why women will be there disproportionately higher than men. So I went to, I'm not going to say the university I went to, but they shared the math department was in the same building as the communications department, even though those two things don't really mix. And it used to really trip me out. Oh, also in the early childhood development department was close too. It used to trip me out how many women majored in broadcasting. And I'm looking at the class and I'm like, and there's some baddies in there, don't get me wrong. But I'm thinking like, none of you bitches will be a news reporter. Not a one. Because every university has several classes full of bitches like you. And every state, especially California, the most populated state, has many schools of broadcasters, would-be broadcasters, just like you. Every year, tens of thousands of women just like you graduate with a broadcasting degree. But how many news anchors are there? Like at most, there's like 100 news bitches in California. At most, at absolute most, there's like 100, and they are already in the job, meaning that thousands of you are waiting for these 100 bitches to die. Like when one of the women die or age out of the business, then 10,000 people apply for the same damn job at the same damn time. It's not like Players Club. It's not like Players Club where Diamond got a job the day after college because the instructor decided to give the job to the girl that sleeps in class and shakes her ass. It's not like that in real life. NBC is going to be like, oh, wait, you was a stripper? So most of those bras are going to graduate in something that they're not going to use. And that's always been the case. And it is sickening. And they stunt on it like they did something.
The same system.
Okay, somebody said this. Good point. They have to move to a fourth tier city like Gillette, Wyoming, and work up to a third tier, then second tier. Okay, here's the problem with that. Moving to a fourth tier city is antithetical to what women actually want to do and what their nature is. Women by nature are social creatures. So once again, they are not going to move to a highly populated place to a sparsely populated place. It's just not in their nature to do that. It's like watching a moth move away from the flames. They just can't do it. A moth can't say, you know something, I'm just going to go over here in the shadows and chill for a bit. They just can't. It's not in their moth nature to do that. It is not in a woman's nature to move to, rural America. That's why the color purple took place in rural America, because it's supposed to represent a woman's hell. A woman's hell wasn't the ass whoopings. It wasn't the ass whoopings of Mister. It was being cooped up in the house with nobody to gossip to and talk to. That was the true hell of the color purple. Make no mistake about that. I don't know who Erin Andrews is, but if she's a Sex and the City bitch, then yes, that's what they aspire to. And I think that they're coming out with a new Sex and the City movie with a bunch of old bitches. And they were already old in the last movie. And that was like 20 years ago. Wasn't one of those bras like 50? Talking about how she still wanted to ride the CC. Now she's like 70. This bitches is nasty. And I bet you that they don't have Jennifer Hudson because she lost weight. And she probably costs more now that she has her own talk show. Hold on, let me look up how old are the Sex and City bitches. How old are the Sex and the City bitches? The ages of the actresses who played the main characters in the original Sex and the City series, which aired from 1998 to 2004, at the start of the show were 33, 33, 33, 32, 33, and 43. As of May, okay. Sarah Jessica Parker, 60 years old. Cynthia Nixon, 59 years old. Oh, she was the young, pretty one. Kristen Davis, 60 years old. Kim Cattrall, 68 years old. This was born in 1956. And they're actually showing this is the Golden Girls. This is the Golden Girls. This is like if they did a prequel to the Golden Girls, it would be Sex and the City. Except the Golden Girls had like grandkids and shit that visited from time to time. Like these are just a bunch of old bitches doing the same shit that they did when they were in their 20s. This is the same shit. And I could swear I've seen like a preview or something. Let's see. New Sex in the City 2025. Yep. So it auto-populated 2025. Let's see. The next season of And Just Like That, the Sex in the City sequel premieres on May 29th. Oh, so wait, that's tomorrow? Oh, they've been doing it for seasons now. This is season 3. Holy crap. It's an actual show. It's worse than I thought. I thought they were doing a new movie. This is an actual fucking show that comes on tomorrow? What the fuck? It has been out for 2 years already? They're making a continual show of old bitches pretending to be young. Doing the same. That's their dream. They dream about, sipping mimosas and just having shit to talk about. The only reason why they go on dates is to talk shit to the other bitches about the date they went on. That is it. 4 women, 1 kid. That is it. That is their fucking life. This is the saddest thing ever.
That you're benefiting from as a woman were built by these men. Another comment here says, nothing but facts. We're not going back. There's another person that says they refused to try because they never had to. It was all handed to them while we had to work hard and prove ourselves over and over. It's hard for these guys to get out of their comfort zone, but that's what they have to do eventually. I am convinced that you cannot make a woman happy. And it's not your job to make women happy. Happiness is something that you are responsible for. It doesn't mean that you go out of your...
That whole demonized thing aside, I agree with this brother.
...way to make women unhappy. I don't think that's the point. I say this because if you listen to women in the West, you would think that they have it the worst off, right? And the reality is that other women in other countries would give everything to have the opportunity and freedom that they have.
No, they wouldn't. I've been to other countries. There exist the ones that want to be American bitches, and I'm going to talk about that after this. They exist the ones that want to be American bitches. For the most part, and that's because they're getting the worst of the opposite world. So if you're extraordinarily poor, you dream of wealth. But for the most part, they just want a family. For the most part, that's what it comes down to. They don't dream of being a Sex in the City bitch. They don't.
Here. At what point would women be actually happy? I don't know. You tell me.
I find it quite funny and amusing when women in America, like myself, I am an American woman, complain about how hard we have it. I can assure you, as someone who travels and lives internationally, it is worse everywhere else.
There she goes. She says it is worse everywhere else. And there you have an American woman, because some of them do get it. Top comment here says they just can't admit it. Good for you being able to show.
Put it like this. Other women across the world are saying to themselves, if I had the wealth of American women, I would do ... And it's never the shit that they talk about on Sex and the City. Now, the reason why some of them would do something different than, start a family or become traditional, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is because when you're poor, there's going to be two things. There are going to be men who take advantage of their poverty. And as a result of those men, there are going to be resentment for men. Say if you're dealing with a woman who has to sell pussy, and I'm not saying sell pussy for whatever the other pussy sellers, American pussy sellers, are selling pussy for, to get the latest purse. I'm talking about, selling pussy to put food on the table so you can eat and make milk for your child. I'm talking about selling pussy for that reason. Once something that you otherwise would like becomes work, you tend to hate it. And I could see that if a woman, that's probably what happened to a lot of American, particularly Black American broads. I could see that a woman, developing a disdain for man on woman relationships if she was forced into them as a job. I can see that being a thing. And I can definitely see that being something with foreign women. But those are hoes, no matter what the reason. So they're damaged in that way no matter what. That's why they're not meant to be housewives. However, non-hoe women tend to think different. Like, I'm pretty sure the woman who interviewed was a non-hoe woman.
Appreciation. Somebody else who says the lack of accountability and gratitude. Somebody else who added, sounds like you just learned something about women. Here's another person who says this is why people should travel. This is true. The type of different perspective you get after you've traveled somewhere, or even if you were exposed to a different culture, will really put you at a place of appreciation rather.
All right, somebody says something. She says she is a pretty Nordic lady. No, she's not, but I'd fuck her anyway because I like her. And she has maximized whatever her genetics have given her. And that's really all I ask a woman to do.
Rather than thinking that you are the victim, you will see more opportunity when you realize that people don't that you have. And I believe more how they actually view themselves, their situation, and would probably be more content about their actual situation.
Yes, you should travel more so you can change the way you perceive yourself. After traveling, I realized that I am a handsome motherfucker. But in addition to that, I realize how fucked up these bitches are relative to the rest of the entire universe. You got to get outside perspective. You see, I have a friend, right, who actually I haven't talked to him in years. So I'm gonna just say I had a friend, right, who hails from a place that he calls not Miami, Florida. So apparently Florida is divided into two different parts. There's Miami, Florida, and then there is not Miami, Florida. And not Miami, Florida is full of like hicks and sticks and shit. And big bitches and dark skinned niggas, having beef with light skinned niggas for the sake of light skinnedness. That's how he described wherever in not Miami, Florida, the fuck he comes from, right? And I always had my thing against Florida ever since the Casey Anthony bitch. So, I always suspected that was a very weird and fucked up place. And I've never been to not Miami, Florida. I've only been to Miami, Florida. But he told me how he used to fuck on fat bitches. Like, that's just what he did. He fucked fat bitches. He didn't even see it as a problem. He didn't even see it as a bad thing. And then after some years in living in California, he threw up on a fat bitch and said that he could never do it again. See, that's what happens when you get outside perspective. That's what happens when you get outside perspective. You could fly to a different country, buy a stove or two, look at your dick and say, I got a big dick and I ain't got to put up with these American bitches. You can confidently say that. Who is this guy? He sounds stupid. I'm in not Miami, Florida, and there's normal people here too. I don't listen. Casey Anthony seemed normal, and the jury that acquitted her seemed normal, but no, it's a bunch of fucking weirdos. Now we're going to talk about Florida. Once again, I've only been to Miami, but the stories that I hear coming out of Florida is so bizarre that I just got to be like, something is going on there that's fucked up. And this isn't a dig at you. Every place has its normal people. But I'm saying the abnormal people, the people that literally bite people face off, like there isn't a term for like Georgia man or California man or Kentucky man. No, it's just Florida man, meaning that y'all do stuff so weird that there's a name for it. Beating up a flamingo is some Florida man shit. In fact, I'm going to Google the word Florida man so you can see what the fuck pops up. I'm not making this up, and this isn't me shitting on Florida, because it's not like you're Mississippi or something. I'm just calling what it is. Hold on. Florida man. And I didn't even notice. Florida man flees alligator, then attacks deputies before being shot dead. Bitten by an alligator, man is killed after charging deputies. Okay, so all right. Apparently, a nigga did something weird with an alligator and a sheriff's deputy. Shit like this don't happen in other places. I'm sorry. What else? Defrauding hurricane victims. Okay, that's some shit that can happen anywhere. So apparently he got into some insurance fraud with hurricane victims. That can happen anywhere there's hurricanes, or earthquakes or something like that. So I'm not going to hold that on some sort of shit. Tennessee Greyhound cash. Let's see. Florida man who shot. Oh, here we go. Florida man who shot and poisoned dolphins. Sentenced to 1 month. Why in the fuck are y'all poisoning dolphins and shooting them? I'm saying there's some particularly weird shit going on there. Wikipedia has Florida man is in Wikipedia. Netflix has a series called Florida Man. So please, not this shit on your state, but it's not just me. Netflix has a series on it. It's something different is going on there. Something different is going on there. And part of that difference is him fucking fat bitches while he's there and throwing up on their ass when he's here. Yeah, they poison and flip her. Like, what the fuck?
Somebody else here says America is literally the best. Somebody else here added, wow.
It's called sunshine laws. No, I live in a sunshine state too. I ain't never poisoned a dolphin, nor have I heard of anybody ever doing that shit. California's a sunshine state too, and we got good oranges too, but we don't poison fucking dolphins. Listen, I get it. Have pride in your state, but don't poison no fucking dolphins. What the fuck?
Finally a reasonable take on how things really are. Here's another person who says, yep. Here's another person who says, thank you, sis. Another person who says, speaking the truth and it hurts. Of course, you won't see it.
I know we got crazy people. Every place has crazy people, insane people, okay? You know, I'm not questioning that one bit. All I'm saying is that the reports I get is so out there. And it's not like I went in with a biased thing. That Casey Anthony bitch, I was like, this bitch is fucking nuts. I swear I couldn't wait. I couldn't wait till they threw her ass under the jail. I could not wait until they threw her crazy ass under the jail and she was acquitted by a fucking Florida jury. I was like, something is up there. That's when I first suspected it. Actually, I should have suspected that shit when y'all didn't vote right. When y'all got confused at the ballot, like on 2020, I should have suspected something then, but I didn't. It was Casey Anthony that made me like, what the fuck is going on there? And then George Zimmerman and the shit got worse and worse. I just keep getting weird ass reports from there. Now y'all killing dolphins. Now y'all poisoning dolphins and shooting them.
Any chicks in these comment sections. I mean, if it's so bad, you would think that there is a place that's actually doing it right. But if somebody's able to please a woman, what does that tell you? What does that tell you?
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Okay. Once again, she's not the hottest, but she is maximizing her beauty. And that's all I can really ask for. So yeah, she gets the dick.
You don't like who you are. You don't like life. You don't like the universe, how it works. Of course, I'm always curious to know what you guys think. Of course, to my currently engaged or soon to be married men, or maybe you're planning to propose soon. If you need a prenup, but don't.
Salute to Coffee Pill Podcast. Greatly appreciate the brother. All right. So one last thing that I seen. This is kind of off topic, but not really. And we're talking about like how this crap are foreign women like modern women. And I seen something yesterday that's deeply disturbing to me. Now, as y'all know, and if you're new here, hit the subscribe button. As those of you who rock with me know, I like to watch massage videos, right? Like to watch massage videos. And there's this one chiropractor out of Italy that I really like to watch because he does some good cracking. And he's always cracking like the baddest bitches, right? So there was this one that came up on my feed. And I gotta say, it was what I seen with this particular crack, not the crack itself. The crack was decent. But this brought really, really disturbed my soul. And you're going to see what I'm talking about. You're going to see what I'm talking about as soon as I find that video. I want to share that with y'all before I left. Is it here or is it the other channel? Let me see. Oh, no wonder. I gotta switch the channel. All right, give me a second, Sean. All right, here we go. All right. This bitch looks like Frankenstein's side piece. Now, he always cracks like attractive women, right? But this chick is like overly plastic. And look at what she has on. I was like, wow. Like, I'll show you the other chicks that he cracks, but you know, they're attractive, but they settle with it. This chick, she had all the work done. You know, she had the lips, the hips, the tits, the ass. She had everything done. And then she got up under the table, right? Now, watch what happens. I'm just scroll a bit. Watch what happens with this chick is under the table. You always see her panties. You get like upskirt throughout the whole thing. This is funny, but there's something distinct that I want to show y'all about her. This is hilarious. I'm happy to hit the like button. I'm happy to share this with you. Like this is my favorite crack. Oh damn it! What happened? All right, it's buffering. Somebody said titties. Yeah. Oh, it looked like some people left. I hope they wasn't from Florida. Listen, I don't mean anything personal. We got weird shit going on here too. Look at this. He's gonna do this the whole crack session. Like keep pulling her skirt down, right? But there's something I want to show y'all. She actually wore this to the thing, knowing it was gonna be on TV. Hold on. There's tattoos on her other arm that I want y'all to see. By the way, she don't speak American. She speaks Italian. Yeah, I'll give y'all some volume. Why not?
Come Rilassa tutto. Adesso con calma, pancia in giù. Girati la pancia in su. Bravo. E ti devi poggiare sui gomiti.
So, he could barely see it. Let me see if I play it some more.
Ci sei?
Sì.
Brava, così. E lascia cadere la testa.
Giù così?
No. Ok, buono. Brava. Perfetto. Cerca di lasciare cadere la testa così.
Okay, so if you look here, right, you'll see $100 bills in American currency. In American currency, you see the $100 bill symbol there, or you know, the bill there, the Benjamin Franklin. She don't know who Benjamin Franklin is because she comes from a country where he wasn't a founding father of, but there it is, right? She's all about the Benjamins, not whatever fucked up money that they have in Italy. So that's a clear sign of something strange. Not to mention, you know, this isn't a regular Kraken. This is an OnlyFans Kraken. By the way, it's not normally like this. The women are just beautiful. It's not like some ridiculous crap like this, right? But I'm gonna show you the other tattoo. This is on the back of her arm.
Brava, però rimani su con le spalle. Abbandona. Ti puoi rilassare. Questi rimangono su. Bene. E l'altra lascia abbandonata. Esatto, fantastico. Andiamo con calma, va bene? Piano piano. Abbandona tutto. Lascia cadere la testa. Brava, abbandona. Più rilassata che puoi. Benissimo. Eccoci.
I told you, he's a good cracker. No pun intended.
Ci siamo? Pronti? Altro lato. Con calma, lascia cadere la testa.
Dang it.
Più rilassata. Ottimo.
I'm not going to show the part. There we go. Now look at that.
Yes.
Look at that. She has the 23 in the Chicago Bulls colors with the Michael Jordan symbol, which means that she is not only, because she has the $100 bills, which is American currency, but she also has a picture of a black man in his glory and all that on the back of her arm. So we know what she's about. We know the culture that she's about. So when I seen this, when I was watching some Kraken and I seen this, I said to myself, I want to see what this chick is about. Now, he normally don't do this. And to me, he's diminishing his brand by doing this, right? You know, he's diminishing his brand by soft porning his show. I watch it for the Kraken. By the way, all Kraken is going to, with him, is going to be like exceptionally attractive woman, probably because he have like a large following, or probably, well, maybe it's cause and effect. Maybe he has a large following because he has attractive women. But to me, it's some good Kraken. If I'm ever in Italy, that's where I would get cracked. Just saying. Now, so this is her, and you see the 23 there. You see this crack? See, that's what I'm talking about. He does stuff like that. And that's how they normally dress, which makes sense given the circumstances. Stretch pants or something like that. This chick just went all out in lingerie. So I'm like, what in the hell is up with this broad? You know, she is acting, and she is on some like American Girl shit. So in one of the comments, he had her Instagram, and we're going to review it. Let's see. Huge thanks for coming up. Her energy and humor. We don't speak Italian. I don't know her damn humor. She came with some upper body tension. Okay. He's talking clinical like this chick wasn't coming for. No, she came for upper body attention. Let's see. So, here we go. This is her Instagram. All right, give me a second. Because it's not changing with the screen. So now we're going to go to her Instagram. Hold on, let me see, because she got like a lot of titties everywhere. So I don't want to, quite frankly. Oh, here you can see the tattoo. Here, let me see if I could click on this one so you can't see anything else and just see the tattoo. You can see both of them. By the way, like the surgery did not, you know. So there you see the 23 and the $100 bills and stuff like that. And this is y'all. Bunch of thirsty ass niggas liking her shit. And if it don't apply, let it fly. But y'all see, is she gonna fuck any of you? Hermosa is beautiful. Maybe this is Italian for it, but what do all this get you? Except from pumping her head up. And I don't know, her face looks weird. Like the doctor just gave her like a fucking Muppet look. Anyway, let me stop the screen share right quick. I'm going to show y'all the thing that really bothered me. Because it bothers me seeing a bunch of niggas just thumb up and thinking that it's going to help with something. So she's showing off her feet. She's really showing her feet. I'm not going to show her feet on the thing, but I guess some dudes like feet. But where is that one thing that she showed and she posted? Where is it? The picture of her eating spaghetti. Okay. Wow, she's really a fan of Michael Jordan. I'm looking for a particular post. I should have saved it. I didn't think I was going to cover this, but I decided to. This is going to be the last thing, but it was this one picture that this one short. It was a picture or a post or something like that. Maybe I'm looking on the wrong side because, like, yesterday it was on the right side of the screen, but maybe she posted something else and it's no longer on the right side. But damn, so that's the bottom, and I missed it. So hopefully she didn't take it down. All right. Somebody said there's prawn videos that start off this way. Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely if dude is heterosexual, he's enjoying his job, I'm sure. The chiropractor. Okay, let me see if I can find it. It's like she knew that I was gonna do this and she took it down. Okay, well, I'm gonna just here it is. Here it is. Finally. All right, let me click it so the other stuff don't show up. All right. Man. One of my clients, so she's a hoe or some type of sex worker. One of my clients requested that I wear this sock for the day and then sign it with his name for $900. Fellas, you got to respect yourself more. I'm not knocking a man for having certain fetishes. We all do. Those fetishes tend to be titties or some crap like that, but this is you if you partake in such things. You got to imagine what this does to the psyche of a woman, particularly a foreign woman. To have her ego built and you're paying her to wear a sock and then write your name on it. And you're watching this, and there's people thumb up in this. Is life even real? And good to have good clients. Something, 300 euros. She put it in English, so he's probably British or American or something like that. Likely American. Mabita T. Yeah, this is madness. I'm gonna end it on that note. It's a shameful world that we live in. People are paying women for dirty socks. And they still complain. They still complain about the evil patriarchy, but really they know that if women were really killing it and men started being broke, then nobody will buy their fucking socks. Then what are they going to do? Somebody said, I hope she's lying. Well, she's signing a sock. You want to see it again? So apparently she either misspelled John or somebody named Jahan gave this broad $900 to sign some socks. This is what the American mentality gets you. It gets you on Instagram with fake tits, fake ass, fake lips, fake everything, selling dirty socks to thirsty niggas. She is living the American dream. She's living the Sex in the City dream. What did you do today? I sold a thirsty nigga some socks. A dirty sock. Actually, I don't even think she's going to mail it to him. I think that he just wanted to see their signature. Respect your money, fellas. That's what I have to say about that. I'm not saying don't have fetishes, don't buy the things you want, but respect your money. It's just a fucking sock. Anyway, I like to thank the super chats. I like to thank my members. I like to thank the people who are listening silently, those who participate in the chat. I like to thank the managers and the moderators. This is GameChanger 00100. Game over. Peace.